Go, off we go. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, boys and girls, DJ Daz One is reporting live from his Hyundai Tucson in the middle of Kansas City, Missouri. But we are still going to do what we came to do because I've got legends tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Legends, legends. Man, the first time I met Flynn was in Boston back in 97, 98 when the album Louder came out.
Yeah.
And I never got a chance to tell Flynn this. This was probably one of the best albums that I've heard in my entire 30 plus years of listening to hip hop records. But he brought a unique perspective to the Christian way of living, as well as kept it true hip hop in the spirit of Cal. And just the diverse messages that he was bringing to the table shook the foundation of what it meant to me to love this culture of that we call hip hop today. And from there, it went to Brainwash Projects, Pigeon John and B Twice, and then from there it went to Composition Number One, and I became a fan of the crew that you guys see on the cameras right now. They just celebrated their 25th year by holding down probably one of the best performances that I would have ever saw. I wish I could have been there in person just to jump along the stage and scream out all the lyrics to these great songs that I've been listening to. But ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, LA's finest, underground kings, ministers of the mic, however you want to describe them, they are the LA Symphony, and yes, they suck.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Oh man.
In the house. Thank you, sir.
All right, so
but it was all. I just have to say, it's been about a 30-year trial process. We were the guinea pigs for all AI generated art, so it really wasn't us. It was all AI.
this is amazing. All right, am I on twice?
No, I think you're only on once. From what I can
Okay.
see.
All right, cool. I just want to make sure I wasn't on twice because I was testing this earlier, and I was on here twice. I was like, I don't want to be on here twice because it'll cause crazy feedback, but it's all right. We will get through it. So, let's introduce ourselves first and foremost to those that aren't familiar with the crew. Roll call. Who we got tonight?
Aha!
What's up, y'all? This is
We
Chris.
got Can you hear me okay?
I can hear everybody okay.
Yep.
Yes, I can.
I figured.
Yes, I can. There we go.
You know, we got the other. We got Joey. We got Flynn and Cook right now.
Yeah, Flynn Adam right here. Joey,
So
where you at?
let's start from the very oh wait, I think we're gonna add one more to the mix here. Let's add one more.
Right,
Wait a
JB.
minute.
Oh, JB.
JB.
Jay Beats was in the place one time. So Flynn, let me start with you because you were the first person that I met, and I don't even think you remember when you were performing after you got off stage. You I didn't have enough money to buy the CD, and you just gave it to me for free.
Yeah.
What a guy.
And I don't know if it's just me because I think someone's feedbacking. I don't know if it's just me or not. So
I think it might be.
let's let that bus go by. I think someone is really like causing a lot of feedback right now.
Well, let's all go on mute and see if it's any of us.
Yeah, I think some people need to.
Go.
Yeah. So Flynn and me will be. All right, hold on here. We're gonna get this. So Flynn, when Louder dropped, what was your narrative for dropping Louder?
Oh man, I think it was just being excited about life, music, and working with Vision and Cookbook, and Jay Beats, Joey, everybody really in the crew. It kind of felt like it was that moment where we all started working with one another and exciting.
Okay, Flynn, hold on one second. Everyone, I'm not trying to be. I think whoever's not speaking right now, can you just put your mic on mute just for a moment? So I make sure it's not me that's doing all the feedbacking. It is me. Yep, it's me. Ha, I'm the bad guy. All right. So I'm going to put y'all back in my car, and we're going to do this while I'm driving home. All right. Let's get this done. Fellas, stay right there. Hold on 1 second. All right.
All right, no problem.
There we go. There we go. Now it sounds a little better already. I was actually listening to the Brainwash Project's album while I was driving home.
It's a great
Oh,
album.
oh yeah, fantastic album. Are you kidding me? All right. So Flynn, let me ask that question again. When you dropped Louder, and shout out to EarTube Empire as well, man. Them t-shirts were classic, bro.
Right on. Gotta bring them back.
What was the narrative statement you wanted to bring out to the world when you dropped Louder for the masses? What was your narrative you wanted to point out in that? See that? You hear that in the background? What are we playing? Look at that. We was just playing Louder. Look at that.
Nice. I think the narrative was just being an individual living in Southern California at that time and being excited to have met all the guys in LA Symphony at that time and being
Right.
inspired and, living a life in faith and positivity and really wanting to express myself and I think ourselves through the music that we were making then. And I think it really, that's kind of what I, I really feel like we were trying to do, and just to really get music out there to represent not only myself but the whole crew, because I think we all
Right.
participated on that album, just to kind of show like this is what you're about to get more of as we put out more stuff.
Facts. Let me start from the beginning as well with everyone. Your first interactions with hip hop, whether it was a song you heard, a video you heard, what were your first early representations of hip hop, respectively? Anyone can comment on this, and we'll just go from there. What made you fall in love with the culture that you guys so vibrantly bring to the masses 25 years and still going?
John, you want to take that? Start with that.
Tackle that first.
Oh man. Hey,
Go ahead, John. We'll
what'd
go
you say,
next.
Cook?
I'm asking everybody your
Go
first.
ahead.
Oh man, I think my very first experience with hip hop was listening to it on K Day, and I heard Africa Bambaata's Planet Rock, and I loved the radio then because if you didn't buy the records, you had no faces, so we didn't know what any of the artists looked like.
Right.
So it was all sonics. It was, and at that time I was a kid, and I asked myself, what is this? Even though it was like a mix of like French disco, it was like I couldn't describe it. And then right then and there, I fell in love with it. I think because I couldn't describe it. I didn't know what the music was. So as a kid, I fell in love with the sonic and that music. Egyptian Lover, a lot of 80s like hip hop, slightly dance stuff when I was a kid. And then the early Def Jam days kind of did it in for me. LL Cool J, huge fan. That kind of just the classic 80s, everybody knows Houdini, all that stuff. So that was just like embedded in me. And then BDP made me rhyme though. When I heard
Okay.
it made me write when I was 15. And it was like a replica of his flow, but I wrote it on paper and I didn't show anybody. I never recorded it, and I just went out and started skating after that. But I like that feeling of just writing a little page, expressing myself, whatever that was, and then skating. As I was like, that momentum, this is all that I really want to do. Go back.
That's real. Joey the Jerk, you up next. What about you, my brother? The first time you had your interaction with hip hop, was it a video you saw, a 12-inch record you bought, something you just seen in California? What was your first representation that made you say, this culture is for me?
Did Joey get disconnected?
Might
I
have
don't
got
know.
disconnected.
We might have, yeah.
Joey
He
got
might-
disconnected. All
Oh,
right, hold
okay.
on. Let me see if we could. Oh no, he's not there anymore. Okay. So Flynn, we'll just go to you then, brother.
Yep. I think I got into it. Oh man, I grew up all over the Midwest, and I feel like my first like introduction that I like recall. Obviously, I'd heard some songs here and there, but it was I lived in a small town in Missouri at the time, Macon, Missouri. You may or may not. I mean, I know you're in Kansas City, right? So it
Yeah.
was out in
Yep.
the middle of nowhere. But I went and saw Beach Street, and I
Mm.
saw that movie, and that just like blew my mind. And I remember getting the soundtrack on cassette just over and over and over, going like, wow. And I think having the visuals with the music itself is what really
Yeah.
got me interested in it, and started trying to break dance and all that. And then just that was really a catalyst for me to start looking into more like what other music's out there. You know what I mean? So I think that's what got me started. Like,
And shout out to B Street, probably one of the
yeah,
greatest movies ever.
yeah,
Wild Style is number one, but B Street is
yeah.
easily number two.
It's a great
Absolutely.
one.
Mm.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
for
Jay
sure.
Beats. How about you, my brother? Jay Beats, talk to us.
Man, I think the first song that I ever like fell in love with was "The Message" from Grandmaster Flash, because the beat was just obviously crazy, and that's the like as far back as I can remember like hearing like hip hop stuff. But the same as everybody else, like we kind of like growing up in the whole LA area, you kind of just like grew up in the culture. It was just the thing to do at the time, like break dancing and skating, or some people was doing graffiti or whatnot, and it was all around. So it pretty much just happened like that. A lot of the electro stuff, like Clientele or Cybertron, or you know what I mean, a lot of Egyptian Lover and all that type of stuff was going on back then. So
Yeah,
yeah,
man. Shout out to the '80s, man. Just a
yeah.
great decade all around, bro. It definitely was.
Oh yeah.
Let's see who we got. Cookbook. Come on, my brother.
Yeah, boy.
Talk to us, man.
Yeah.
What was your first interaction with the hip hop culture that made you say, "This is for me"?
Well, piggybacking off of Jay Beats and Pigeon, is just the whole growing up in LA. It was all around us. Like as far I don't remember a world without like hip hop, or like we grew up on K Day. I remember going to school. People trade tapes, or like whether it's the Roxanne battles going back and forth or stuff. But I remember really, really being impacted the first time I heard Public Enemy. Like I just remember being just blown away at the sonics of it. The beats were
Yeah,
so incredible to me, and what they were talking about was just blew my mind because I mean, there was like J Beats mentioned the message and stuff, but there was something so powerful about the way they were presenting what they were doing. I just remember being
right.
really, really impacted off of hearing Rebel Without a Pause and all of that. Just
Oh,
that's
man.
what's sticking out to me in this moment. I might have lots of stories, but that really is what's sticking out in this moment.
Oh, absolutely, man. PE, that album, boy. I tell you, man. I'm loving your answers already, fellas. I'm loving it. Is Joey up there now?
Yeah.
All right,
So he's back.
Joey the Jerk. We're asking everybody, what was the first interaction you had with hip hop? Whether it was an album you heard, a song you heard, a video you saw,
There you
or just something you saw in your everyday travels that made you just say, "This culture is something I want to definitely get into when it's
I
time
got,
for me to get into it."
I think
I
you
got,
offended him. He left again.
he's being a jerk. He just dropped off again. He's living up
He's
to his
living up
name.
to his name, bro. He's out.
He just
He's like,
dropped
Oh
off
what?
again.
Why you
man,
asking me?
really being a.
Why you asking me?
That's
Why you
part of
asking
his
me all these
shtick.
questions right now?
Yeah.
Don't be
All
asking
right,
me no
so
questions.
Joey the Jerk, just like the intro words to composition number one, you kind of suck right now. This
Yep.
this ain't
Yeah, I
this,
guess
this ain't
so.
cool, bro. Nah, it's all good. One love to
Oh
Joey the
man.
Jerk. Um, the West Coast, being that I'm from New York originally, and we know where hip hop started in New York, but the West Coast had such a unique and diverse flavor to it that was not not too far off from what New York brought to the table, but it had a whole different vibe. Now in the '80s, of course, it was mostly gangster rap. You had your NWAs, your Ice Ts, and everybody like that. But then in the '90s, groups like the Far Side and Jurassic 5 and Dilated Peoples really captured what the East Coast sound was, but you all brought your unique flair to it. So as LA Symphony, when you guys got together, and we're going to break down these solo entities, brainwashing, all that, we're going to get into that. But as a conglomerate, as a family, how did you approach doing a 10-man group? Because I don't think we've ever seen a 10-man group in California. You know, great groups came out of there, J5, Hieroglyphics, and all that. But I think you guys were literally the first 10-man band to really just shape your sound. And on top of that, do holy gospel music, if you want to even put that in the context, which really separated you from a lot of other artists already. But what was your early narrative as LA Symphony, getting together and doing what it is that you've done now? What was those early meetings like, saying this is what we want to do? And then we're going to talk about Tunnel Rats too, because they're a huge, you know, part of what you guys brought to the table, because you guys were like neck and neck as far as like coming out around the same time. I'm getting long-winded here, but LA Symphony's early beginnings were what?
I think we just all like we was all like hip hop heads, like we just loved the music, and then we were all like we all had separate groups like before like the whole like LA Symphony group thing. So it was more like a crew thing. Like I know like from my perspective, like I think I met PJ first, and then I ended up meeting Flynn, and then like you said, we were working on his first album and whatnot, and then we all started doing shows with each other or whatnot. That's kind of how the crew formed, and then I think Cookbook had the idea of just like making a compilation, which turned out turning into composition number 1, and then it kind of like through some other stuff. Anybody else could jump in and that, but it turned into like a group thing from there. So it was still more like a crew, but it's just like, to me, like the way we like craft our sound, we just like all grew up in the culture and we love the music. You know what I mean? Because like you mentioned, like with the whole 80s thing with the LA sound or whatnot being gangster, like even before that, like even with NWA or Dr. Dre or Ice-T, like before they even started making gangster music, it was like music to break to. Like it was like a lot of electro music, like, you know what I mean? So, and then that gangster phase was kind of like a little small window of time, like looking back at it now to where it was at, and then it kind of morphed into like the late 90s boom bap sound or whatnot. But we, being from LA, like a lot of things are like it's all about the beat, you know what I mean? And a lot of people like were into dancing or whatnot, or just like, you know, into the music. So the way I look at it, like we just all like love hip hop like as a whole, like be it like West Coast music, East Coast music, South music, whatever. Like if it was popping or it was cracking, like we was into it. So we just try to like give that same feeling that we got from the music and put it in our own music, you know what I mean? So
Now, Pitch, and I want to ask, I'm going to ask you this. You can speak, and anyone can jump in as well. But being that you guys were, I guess, and I hate using the word label, but being that you guys were labeled Christian hip hop artists, that flew over a lot of people's heads, because it wasn't like John 3:16 says this, and for God so loved the world, and this is not a knock to anyone that's listening that, you know, follows the Bible, because we all do, but you guys had a unique approach that wasn't like Cross Movement or A1 Swift or Dynamic Twins or Gospel Gangsters or anyone that came up before you. You guys had a very cultured way of looking at how to preach the word of God through this medium of hip hop. How did you attack that stance in what you were doing? Because, you know, the non-believers and the naysayers that probably were like, they're not Christian, what are they doing? He said the word niggy a few times. Are they supposed to sound like that? How did you guys deal with the oppressors as well as the ones that were supporting you at the same time, all the while still building your movement?
Man, I think like piggybacking off of what Beats was saying, I think because we were hanging out so much, you know, doing music together. Flynn was in college, so everybody was hanging out, you know, or a lot together. And when we formed, it wasn't a thought of like, I don't think so. It was a thought of like, for me personally, I was like, everybody has their style. I think Cookbook thought of symphony because everybody was a different instrument. The violin, clarinet, the drums, the bass. You basically kind of be yourself, do you to the extreme, and then you fit in. And that's what LA Symphony was gospel wise, I think as well. Like if we did a show at a Christian event, we didn't change any of our songs or the way we talked. And if we got a chance to do a show at the Roxy, we didn't change at all. And I think that type of Christianity at that time was like, come as you are,
Right.
almost be yourself to the point where you're laughing. A lot of the LA Simp songs were like made in mid joke or whatever, made it like not necessarily trying to achieve something, more so trying to record what was going on. Record, just press record. What comes out is afterwards, but we were just recording everybody, and everybody was coming with their specific vision of Christianity. You can ask Trendy MC's verses. In my mind, they flipped and weaved, and they were like playful but deep at the same time. But no one had ever rapped like that before or after, in my mind. So everybody had their own lane, as well as their own lane as with their Christian faith. You know, some people were more maybe comfortable with sharing in depth. Some people were more like just living it and not speaking so much about it. But I think that's, for me, that's what LA Symphony was like. Come as you are musically, but also with your faith. Like there was no wrong. There was no like, hey, you're Baptist, you got to get away. Are you Foursquare? Are you like, we didn't even talk. Are you Church of God? You know, hey, do you pray in tongues or not? We didn't never ask any of that. I never asked Jay Beats how his walk with Jesus Christ was. Never.
Right.
Ever. You know? And I think out of respect, because I knew that, you know, that's a personal relationship, as they say, and that means keep your mouth shut. You know, in the way of the old disciples, if I want to start preaching and stuff. But enough of that. But I think that to be honest, like for me, speaking for me, and I'll pass the mic after this. LA Symphony, even from the last show that we did last week, I'm not even going to say it because it might come off weird, but I think iron sharpens iron in a way. Like we affected each other just by being around each other. Because we saw kind of how we did life and did music down to everything. And we just kind of, I don't know how to say it, like iron sharpens iron in a way. So we kind of affected each other. We,
like, for better or for worse, we rubbed off on each other, like in a good way. Like this whole thing started with friendships, right? We were all doing music separately. And Pigeon was usually the catalyst. If you go through every one of us, like, and you ask who we met first, most of us probably met Pigeon first and then met everybody else after that. But it was always like, hey, what are we doing? Let's get together. Let's go hang out. A lot of stuff happened even at my house, just in the backyard. My dad would let us have the garage, and we had the turntable set up, and it was like constant freestyling, constant rapping, constantly hanging out, and just becoming like, building these deep friendships. And I think we also had the advantage of youth. We didn't care. We were young. We didn't think about like, well, how's this going to affect my bottom line or none of that. We just rapping and making songs. We weren't thinking about none of that, almost to the point where like when we got a record deal, then we had to kind of, well, let's define ourselves. What is this? Like, because, you know, they start asking you those questions and you're like, I don't know, like we just rap and do our thing. And but what it did boil down to was just that. It was like we always told ourselves whatever we feel like, we allowed each other to rap about that, like good, bad, dark, light, you know, and we let it be natural because whoever we were was gonna come out, right? And we used to say that all the time, like if you're like banging, just a gangster, just banging in LA. You're probably not going to rap like De La Soul. You're going to rap like who you are, unless you're faking it, right? And we just approach the same thing with us. Like, we are who we are. And so if we're going to rap a song about girls, or we're going to rap a song about going to Taco Bell, we're still going to be us in all those scenarios. That's why when John describes it, that's just how we approached it. And truth be told, I think in the early days, we got next to no hate from like just sort of the regular markets. We got more hate from Christians because they probably didn't understand what we were doing, and it was just something new to them. So we got attacked a lot from that angle, I would say, more than anything. But I think again, the advantage of youth, I don't know how much we cared about that. we're just wilding and just went for it, you know. And that was part of the power, I think.
I
That,
I I remember one of the analogies we would use when people would maybe question, like actually coming from the like Christian side of people, and whether they'd say, "Oh, that's not, you know, what they defined as Christian music." And it was like, what are you guys talking about? Do you put this kind of a limitation on a person that goes off to become an architect? Once they're an
Mhm.
architect, are they
Yeah.
only supposed to design churches, or can they take on other clientele, right? And I feel like it was always with us. It's like we're making music and we're designing. Each of those songs is a different design. Does it, you know, it might not apply to what certain people expected that design to be, but we were just expressing and still express who we are and lay out that design with every song. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Right. That's real. That's real. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, we got the world famous LA Symphony live and direct in the vibe chair, chilling out,
yeah.
basically chronicling their whole career from their early days to right now. I definitely want to talk about someone that is not here that had a huge influence on me as we add Joey the Jerk back up here. Joey, can you hear us?
He's spinning. I see his
He's
little wheel
spinning, he's
spinning.
spinning, he's
Oh, he's
spinning.
spinning.
Numbing.
All right, he'll eventually come in, but I definitely want to give love to B Twice. This guy,
Shout out to B Twice.
man, you want to talk about a general with the pen, the way he, oh man, his arsenal of his wordplay arsenal was just second to none. What was it about B Twice that made you guys? I mean, aside from just hanging out with him, and everything, but his his level of lyrical wordplay was so abstract. Like when I listen to B Twice, I get Royce the 5'9" vibe every time I hear him, and he's just a beast on it. What was B Twice like working with? I know because he does the DJ thing and as well. But what was it like being with B Twice on stage and in the studio to see his work ethic? And same for everyone's work ethic. How did it collectively work when you guys were in the studio crafting this incredible music?
Man,
Yeah.
I think B Twice is like. Go ahead, John. You go first.
Oh,
I'll go.
go for it, Cook.
I was just say I think B Twice is like. I don't want to say the most hip hop of us, but he was the very purest. Um, he kept the purest aspect. It's kind of like what John said though. Everybody brought like their different flavor to it, and we would mix it all up. And so I don't know that we ever even thought about like how do we incorporate each other's styles, whether it's B Twice or J Beats or whatever.
Right.
Somehow it just fit together, you know what I mean? And that was part of the magic. Like it's almost unexplainable, you know what I mean? So like people can rap how they rap or be into a certain style of beat or whatever, and we welcomed it all. And then we just kept piling it all together until we had the songs that we thought made the dope project or whatever. So I feel like, you know, that's part of what we all brought to the table. And I mean, me personally, I've learned so much from every single LA Symphony member, because to me LA
Man,
Symphony was like boot camp, like
for real, for
in the
real.
early days especially, because I was coming into LA Symphony not really knowing myself or knowing my style. I was heavily influenced by the people I was hanging out with right before LA Symphony, and I don't feel like I even sounded like myself. And there was a freedom in LA Symphony. It was like, dude, do you, be you, and while you're figuring it out, it's cool, you know. And so I really learned. I mean, work ethic. I think I learned the most work ethic. No disrespect to anybody else from Flynn. I really learned a lot. I remember taking specifically watching Flynn in certain aspects of how he worked, and I would take those lessons with me and like say I'm gonna do it like Flynn's doing because he's getting work done. You know what I mean? So, and then songwriting from everybody, like, and just challenge. Speaking of B on lyrics, or even my man Serene Poems or whatever, the
Uh-huh.
lyricism was what made it really boot camp for me too. I was always trying to uh, write the best verse, whether I did or not. You know, most of the time I didn't, but in my mind I was not battling everybody else, but I felt this like healthy competition that was like spurring me to grow more and go harder.
That's
Yeah.
what's up, man. Anyone
Yeah.
else want to add to that real quick?
Yeah. I would love to add, man, like Beat Twice was the dude in the neighborhood who had the records. He held up the first Run DMC record to me, like the single. He had all from Oingo Boingo, from Iron Maiden. He was like the neighborhood DJ. He had all the records. So the same way his critiquing of himself kind of made his beats like they had to be diamond cut, else he wasn't going to show anybody in his mind. And as far as our skate team or whatever crew, he's the best skater, because the same way he would practice when no one was looking, he'd keep skating. We go home. He built a mini ramp in his backyard himself.
Wow.
He was that type of guy, a brainiac in a way. And I love being in the group with him because I can be a loose guy, Mr. Lucy, because he's like, you know, he's that dude. So when he came into LA Symphony, it was the same aspect. Like I love the way the simplistic, like the beats that he would make his beats. Like he would like he loved kicks and snares, and if he had a good kick and a snare, he'd keep that as almost a metronome for like maybe like I would say 20 different loops and samples to see which one is even worth finishing. Like he'll have a loop that you haven't done and won't think of, and he'll sit with it over the same, because no frills. If it's not good off of that, it's not good. That was his mentality. But as well as his rhymes, he was very like he liked to ride really? And he liked to present a diamond. He like, you know, in his mind, like the dopest verse that he could write at that moment. Like Cookbook was saying, like we're just bringing our best. But
I'm sorry. He wrote alone every time, or was it, or did he write with you guys?
For me, like he would write alone. The verse would be, it's done. Like it's, hear it and it's finished. It's there. When he wrote with people and he had to come up with the verse, he had to get a little looser. And those are my favorite Beat Twice moments, when he couldn't cut the diamond and fools are all around him. And now he has to freaking think of a funny-ish type of verse, but he would just, in my mind, come through even more sharper. But that's just me. He's always kind of been like a purist, like Cookbook has said. And that element, when we would vote on beats, it would come through his ears. Like he would have to say yes or no as well. So whether he made the beat or not. So it was a cool dynamic. But I think he was a music lover as a kid, and then the way he produced was very like minimalistic, like the Japanese style, like of a house. You know what I'm saying? It's slick. That's Beat Twice's style in my mind.
Wow.
You know? But a purist at heart, so he might not show a lot of the stuff. But the stuff that you might hear if you were at his place would make you angry because it's not out. And I mean that. He would show you some stuff where it's like, it's almost like seeing an angel, and no one will ever hear that. So that's the way I see Beat.
That's great. So speaking of production, Beat Twice did beats, Flynn did beats, Jay Beats obviously did beats. How did beats get chosen for each project, whether it was a solo record or a group effort or, you know, a Brainwash collaborative project? How do you guys choose the beats, and the beats that never made the cutting room floor? Did they ever get used, or is there a stash of beats still waiting to be used for a hint new album perhaps? But we'll get to that a little later. How did you guys choose your production for each project, and was it all an agreement thing, or you just felt it and you just started writing, or a lead off verse said, okay, we can do it? Like Mr. What the Heck was one of my favorite tracks, period. Like just the way the track flowed, it gave me scenario vibes. It gave me self-destruction vibes in a way where each person's rhyme style was different, but it worked with the track. Like, you know, Joey the Jerk was the laid back individual. Pigeon John was the Buster Rhymes type of style. Flynn.
We lose you.
Froze up.
I think we lost.
Froze
You
up, my
lost
brother.
me?
We got you.
You're
You
back
got
now,
me?
I think.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
buddy.
got you
Yes,
now.
sir.
I
Cool.
think.
Yeah, I just rolled up to home, so I'm going into the office, and I'll be on a bigger screen in just a few moments. Keep talking.
I think we just everybody would make beats. There was a point in time even when we would just have meetings and everyone would just bring beats and we would vote. And then once the songs were made, we would have to vote again. And so there would be beats on cutting room floors, songs on cutting room floors, and a lot of those LA Symphony songs that we did, they would end up on solo projects. Like if Poems was doing a project, he'd be like, "Well, I'm going to get that song since it didn't make that LA Symph album or whatever." And but it's LA Sim has always been a voting process too when it comes to the music. Like we make the music together, but we're gonna vote at the end of the day. So we might make 40 songs for an album that's gonna only have 15 songs, and the vote goes how it goes, and we all agreed that we're gonna be okay with that. So if you only got 3 of the songs you voted for on that album, I mean that's how the vote
Wow.
went. You just gotta live with it. So, um, but the good thing is for the most part, I think I don't recall like hating any songs. You know what I mean? It's just you have your favorites, and the ones that make it are still hard tracks they still go hard. So I think that's how I see it.
Amen and amen. I can't wait. I can't wait to see you guys on my computer screen. I'm about to go on there right now. Man, listen, we are here. We are here. We are here. Lord have mercy. All right. Here we go. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're just now tuning in, we got the legendary LA Symphony live and direct right here from LA. Backlash is I don't know. I don't want to say backlash. Um, Amongst the Christian community in LA at that time, and there were so many groups, so many soloists. What was the Christian camaraderie like as you guys were coming up with the other artists that you would share stages with, or just by even supporting their music, or whatever, however you want to word it? What was the overall camaraderie like in LA? And I'm leading more towards Prevention because I had Dax on the show not that long ago, and he spoke of how Prevention really just showed the Christian community what the West Coast had. But not only that, there was a camaraderie and a love, because I remember during the Prevention I saw on video, Dax would remove the shoes from dirt, shadow the locust's feet, and he would begin to wash his feet. Or I think it was the other way around. Maybe dirt did it to Dax, but that scene in the Bible is one of my favorite scenes. But to see that, it was like, that was a dope thing, because it's like, yes, we're MCs, we're wearing baggy jeans and Air Force Ones and all this, but we still have a love for Jesus that brought us here. But this is a brotherhood, this is a sisterhood, this is a family. We're not just LA artists from West Covina or Sacramento or Oakland or wherever. We're just a bunch of artists here on the West Coast on the same page, doing the same music, trying to reach the same people to bring them to salvation. But at the same time, we got skills, we can rhyme. We show a diverse flavor and love for this artistry. But in your guys' mind, what was the camaraderie like in the Christian community with this group of artists from all over on one stage and one time for this one purpose? Who wants to speak on that?
Before we answer that, could you let Flynn back in? I think he got knocked out. He's waiting to come back in.
I sure can. Here we go. Flynn is back.
I'll answer real quick. I feel like I almost, and this might sound negative, but this is real talk. I feel like I almost don't remember Prevention because so much of our experience back then was like that.
Mm-hmm.
Because not only were we doing shows with each other, we were constantly doing shows with all type of people, whether it's
Yeah.
Piece 586 or LPG or any. Like, we were constantly with them too. It just they just had their separate groups and crew.
Right.
But yeah, Prevention was big. I do remember it, but I'm saying, I'm trying to express to you that how close we were. Or like Soup was like everybody's like
Yeah. Soup was like
father with
the
his.
main cat.
Yeah, he was like such a OG. I mean, he's the one that made me even think that Christian rap could possibly
Yeah,
be
same
relevant.
here.
Because everything before him was whack to me, and that was just my opinion. I didn't. There was a lot of people maybe I didn't hear, but that's just how I felt until I heard him. And I think he kind of was like the glue. He's like I always saw him as like the KRS of our scene. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I saw it.
Wow.
And from him down, I think we just all were around each other so much that it's Prevention is almost just like another Saturday in a way. I
Yeah.
know there was a lot more people there, but that's just how I'm trying to describe what it was like then.
Wow. Anyone else want to add to that?
I would like as far as the camaraderie, like to piggyback off of what Jason was saying, like it's kind of hard to pin it down to just Christianity because even with like the TRs or whatever, like we were actually like out and about like in the rap scene, like rapping with people that
Yeah.
weren't of Christian faith or that, you know what I mean, they might have been Muslim or whatever. They probably didn't have religion. Like
Right.
it wasn't really like it wasn't about that with us. We were all just trying to make good music, and it just so happened that
Yeah.
some people might be in the Christian faith and these other people might be Muslim or they might be whatever. So and then like with LA, like in the rap scene, it wasn't like how rap is now. Like if you was like really in it, then it was kind of small in the sense of it was like an intimate community. Like we all knew each other, you know what I mean? So it wasn't like we just like checked in at certain shows or whatever. Like we seen each other all the time. So it was like
Yeah.
it's kind of hard to like pin it down to like a small circle of people because it was like we was all just trying to make the best music, you know, spit the hardest rhymes, spit the hardest beats, and we was all just having fun with it. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. A lot of those trips to Taco Bell and Denny's or those barbecues at my house or they were there too. It wasn't just LA Symphony. It would be like 30, 40 MCs deep at sometimes, you know, and it was the friendships as well as like rap, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it was definitely,
Right.
we were all tight like that. And we were tight with the LA scene, like he's saying. We just, it's a good time. It's weird because you look back or you look now and you see like the people that blew up. You're like, man, I know a lot of those people. And I knew them back when we were really young, just running around trying to write our first raps. We all were doing that. You know what I mean? And then, so to see it like that, it kind of shows how tight knit the community is in general, not just the rap overall, the rap community at that time. You know,
Real talk. If you're just now tuning in, ladies and gentlemen, we got the LA Symphony in the building. We got J Beats, we got Cookbook, we got Flynn, we got Pigeon John, we got Joey the Jerk. And this is just a wonderful moment for me. Let me just say this to you guys now that I'm situated and I'm sitting down. Thank you guys for just showing me that it's okay to be different. It's okay to be nerdy. It's okay to be set apart, but still be lyrically active, still care about the culture. And as a believer, still gives me something that I can gravitate towards without having to walk a certain way or speak a certain way. Like I can wear my hat to the side. I can have a peace medallion on. I can wear my sneakers and my baggy pants and everything and love this hip hop, but know that the guys that are doing it are walking the same way I'm walking, going through the same things that I'm going through, having worry about paying bills, and if we're with someone, treating them right, and really trying to live the best way we can live for Christ, knowing that we're going to sin and make mistakes every day, but we're here to do this music because we were chosen and called to do it. And we want to speak to the same people that love hip hop, that love everything about the culture, but are still trying to walk that same walk and have that same faith. So I want to say this. I want to say thank you because you inspired me and my whole crew. We loved what you guys did. One of the best songs that we've always played at parties was Look at Me Dancing. And we played Sea Breeze. We played Spanish Harlem. We played, the Night After Night remix, which was, Man, we would play these at hip hop parties, like for the heads, and they would hear these records and they'd be like, "Man, who is that? How come I never seen that guy on MTV?" And I'm like, "Well, let me introduce you." And then that would lead us to them to have a talk and get them saved because of what we played. So I want to thank you guys for opening that door so we could go out to those areas and speak the word of God after playing great records from people who are also living the word of God and living that truth. So I just wanted to say that to you guys. Thank y'all so much for that. And now Joey's back once again.
Yeah.
We're gonna
Yeah,
get Joey
Joe.
to talk, man, because Joey,
Yeah.
you keep going in and out, bro. So your involvement with LA Simp is definitely a very visual one, but you were really the most laid back guy that spit every verse. He was like so calm and cool, like you were Guru, and rest in peace to Guru all day. What does being in LA Symphony mean to you after all this time, and how do you feel that being 25 years greater in a time when hip hop is really just so mainstream and watered down and dumbed down in a way? How do you feel your contributions as a member of this wonderful family in the state of hip hop we're in now? How do you feel that you have adapted to this art form? And yeah, just speak on the love of LA Simp and everything that you've done. Speak on it, brother. Let's hear the man talk.
Oh man. You can hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
we can hear you now. Yes. Hand clap for Joey the Jerk.
Yeah, boy.
Yay. Yay. Yays. Yay. I think LA Symphony to me is like, I didn't go to college. I did go to college, but I didn't go to college, like go to college. I was Symphony, you know what I mean? So that was my, when I was young, I was looking up to these guys. I was younger than the oldest ones and older than the youngest one. You know what I mean? And for me, it was like LA Symphony played a huge role in my faith, I guess I'd say. I wouldn't guess I'd to be 1,000% honest. Like, who knows where I would have went, left, right, whatever direction, without, the influence of all these guys, honestly. I feel like, you grow up, you become a man, you do so many things that I've done in my life are because of the influence of these clowns right here. And that's the real thing. So LA Symphony probably means more to me than any, person listening to the music or that is, because it was such a, like, I don't know, it's how I grew up. You know what I mean? Obviously, I didn't go to high school with any of these guys. I met these guys after high school, and it was like, but that they were who I was with when I became a man in certain regards. Like,
Yeah.
so many lessons I learned, so many things, and not just me, like learning lessons through me, learning lessons through watching them succeed and fail.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
LA Symphony means a lot to me, but it does because of, all the guys, honestly. It was dope making music. It was dope to travel the world, and, all of my, almost like, I feel like, at this point, like, I look at my life and say, I feel like I lived life, and anything I do from this point on is like, retirement from, like, my real life. That was LA Symphony. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's true. Sometimes when you think about like what you wanted to accomplish, you can look back and be like, dude, look at all that we have done. Like I remember like, going through times of regret or whatever, but then you look back and go, dude, if if this all ends today, like I've traveled the world. I've traveled America multiple times. I put out mad records. I've been with my brothers in the trenches, and you can't kind of like, I'm grateful to be here 25 years later, but you can walk away from it also and be like, man, we really did a lot, and it's meaningful, uh, to a large group of people, but more so to us as brothers and people who, you know, I'm closer to you guys than probably my own brother in a lot of ways. You know what I mean? Like just having been through all of the things that we've been through together.
Let me get rid of one person. Hold on.
I can't hear you.
Yeah, I think he has himself
Was that
muted out.
was that me?
Muted still.
I don't know how you
Nah,
ended up. John ended up on the
I
main
think,
screen. There you go. What's
yeah, I
up,
yeah.
think
PJ?
he.
Yeah.
John
What's
was
What's
up,
on
up,
the
man?
John?
main
Listen, I
You
had a
know what
question. Listen,
What's up?
I had a
I
little
think
question.
take it, John. Interview us. You're on the main screen now.
You did.
All right, can you hear me
I hear
now?
you talking so bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But you're on the small screen now, bro. John's taking over. This is the LA Simp
Of course, John
takeover. John's
taking over.
taking
That's what
over.
John does.
John's on the big screen now, brother. Sit back. Yeah.
Oh man.
Muted
What's the
out.
deal?
Hey, yo, what's up, JB? What's going on?
Chilling, man. Cooling.
Let your house
What's
Yeah.
up,
call.
PJ?
I'm
What you
at my
got,
house,
man? Come on,
son.
Oh
man.
man,
What's
I'm
up?
just
You got to get
enjoying
an
it.
interview, man.
Hey, PJ, ask
What?
a question, man. What do you want to know about LA Simp?
Oh my god. Oh man, I like what Joey's saying, man. All right, let's bring up,
Nah.
man. Just let's our favorite kick it spots, man. Was it Irene Sumi's house?
Probably
A good one.
Irene's Taco Bell. Where you go? Oh, there you go.
Something like
Oh,
that, man. He took it back
man.
over.
So,
Now I
Yeah,
gotta go to
Taco
Taco
okay.
Bell.
Bell.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
got.
So, can you hear me
I
now?
might have to go with
I'm like on two
Yeah.
LTO.
different screens
But
right now. So Joey, you didn't get a chance to really answer this in the beginning. I want you to talk to us about some of your early influences that just guided you in the game. Like, did you see a video? What song did you enjoy? Like, what brought Joey to the game and said, I want to do hip hop because of this? Go.
I mean, well, my brother used to rap. He wrote raps, and my brother was kind of really smart guy. He got into MIT. He went to Caltech. He was really, brainy, but he was also like way into hip hop. My dad had a
Mm-hmm.
gas Compton, and I remember I worked there. I used to work there. I started working there in the 3rd grade. And one summer, KRS One was there. He wasn't there. He was down the street at Compton College, filming scenes for the "You Must Learn" video.
Wow.
Yeah, and some lady came by and was like, "Hey, would you like tickets to go see my friend Chris Parker?" And we was like, "Chris Parker? What are you talking about?" "No, we don't want to see no Chris Parker." And then someone was like, "Yo, that's KRS One." I was like, "Oh, maybe," but I was like in the 3rd, 4th grade. I was young, so my dad was like, "No, Africans don't do that." So needless to say, we didn't go to the "You Must Learn" video shoot.
Dang.
Wow.
Man, that's
But
crazy.
like I've always kind of been,
Wow.
so like as far as like hip hop, like my
Mm-hmm.
brother was my biggest. He wasn't an influence because I wasn't like, oh man, I'm a rapper. I always thought my brother was the better rapper. He was the guy who rapped while we were young.
totally.
And then it just happened. Like I just started freestyling once with this cat named Tom Buffont who knew all these guys. Like I
Mm-hmm.
wouldn't have known or even been in LA Symphony if it wasn't for Tom Buffont, because I would never have met any of these people.
Mm-hmm.
So like Tom Buffont really was the connector to me to all these guys, as well as like I was in high school and Tom Buffont was
Right.
also a huge influence. Like we was in school and girls would throw themselves at Tom Buffont like crazy. That girl, it's not serious.
Wow.
And he would be like, no. I'd be like, what are you doing, bro? You turning down all the girls, bro. What's
That's crazy. I really want to. I love independent labels. I love independent music because there's a lot more freedom. But you guys went from Ear to Empire to Goatee. Did being on Goatee Records change the narrative that you guys have already put out to the world on numerous occasions? Or did Goatee just say, you know what, we know we're a really more commercial label, but we want you guys to still just be the LA Symphony that you've always been? Or did they try to change you in any ways? Who wants to speak on that real fast?
I mean,
Man,
I think they definitely loved the LA Symphony that they knew, and that's
Okay.
what intrigued them and they were interested in. I you're kind of omitting a whole, like, when we went from independent, we then signed to Squint, and they put a lot of money into us, and that album never came out, but there was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
momentum that was built with that. And I know when working with Goatee, they would express like, "Can you give us a hit song like that?" And it was like, "Well, I mean, we did that with Will I Am and the Black Eyed Peas. Do you have that kind of budget?" I remember having a conversation, and I think, answer, they really want to change this. I mean, I think they had in their mind ideas of what songs or types of songs could maybe do better for the kid. But overall, I mean, I think they would try to, you know, be mindful of what their main business model was.
Right.
And I don't know. I don't think we really lived up to that because we made music we made. So,
Wow. I also want to ask because a lot of times I see a lot of, I guess, quote unquote Christian artists working with secular artists, and you guys were able to work with Black Eyed Peas and Prince Paul and Fat Lip from the Far Side. Did you feel that gained a new audience because you were basically working with secular artists that really weren't gospel influenced, but still had that conscious state of mind? And even Pigeon working with Gift of Gab, rest in peace to him as well. Did that bring in a new audience to get to know LA Symphony, or what did that bring when you guys worked with a Fat Lip or a Will I Am or a Gift of Gab, respectively and collectively, working with Pasta Noose as well, people like that? What was that? What type of audience did that bring working with such lyrical heavyweights? And what did that mean for you guys to work with these great artists that, influenced you guys most definitely?
So from like going back to the whole thing, like how the whole LA scene was, I think like our newest audience was the Christian audience. Like we were kind of coming up in the same fashion as like Black Eyed Peas and like, the Far Side was around, like all these groups were around. So we kind of like, we're kind of already rubbing shoulders with them because they was around and whatnot. So it wasn't like I remember like my brother was in the group, and I remember doing a show with like Black Eyed Peas, Oza Motley, somebody else was there, I can't remember, but it was like, it was before they were like black, like BEP to the world, you know what I mean? So it was already like kind of like a scene to where everybody was with each other or whatever. And I think like Cookbook said, he knew a couple of people that were like already out and about in a couple of those groups, like Oza Motley and like Black Eyed Peas, and Will was around a lot of spots or whatnot. So it wasn't like I think that was like our audience, like Falling Up, Black Eyed Peas, and like Running, Far Side and all of that. That was more so our audience as we were making music or whatnot. And then like the Christian scene kind of caught on, like when we started getting labeled as like a Christian group, you know what I mean? So like, yeah, it was, that's how I kind of feel like it came to be, you know what I mean, with the whole thing and whatnot. So, but it was to me, it was an honor. Like I was young, so I was kind of like naive to the whole thing, and just like, I was just watching everything, like when we were working with Will and when Prince Paul was around and everybody else or whatnot. And it was a great opportunity, a great learning experience or whatnot.
Absolutely.
And to piggyback like off of what Joey the Jerk was saying and what Cookbook was saying, like I learned I learned so much, like being around PJ, being around Flynn, Cookbook, Uno Mas, Serene, even Joey the Jerk, just everybody. Like it was a great learning experience overall or whatnot. So it really kind of made us sharp. Like I feel like we all make good music because, well, I know I make, like my music is good because I've been around these cats. You know what I mean? Like I learned from them because I learned PJ and the way he writes songs. I learned how Solo write hooks. I learned how Flynn work ethic or whatnot, and the same thing with Cookbook and so on and so forth. So
that's right.
But
yes,
wow. I really want to talk about now. Just a few months ago, Tunnel Rats exploded back on the scene with probably their greatest work, and it was, even though it was just one song, they haven't really lost their step with that great release. Shout out to the Tunnel Rats crew. We on Top is a banger. And then I get to see you guys perform for the first time since, wow, I want to say the Paid Dues Festival. I know you probably performed after that back in 2012, but to see everybody Yeah, to
Yeah.
see everyone back on stage again. And from what I saw, you guys haven't lost one step. Like the chemistry was there. Everyone, you all backed up everyone's lyrics. Like you gave a really master class on how to put on a show with multiple individuals at the same time. And it was just a beautiful thing to see. This
Thank you.
reunion show leads me to ask, what's next for the LA Symphony?
Oh man.
Well, John, you can tell them about. So thanks to
Yeah.
John, we have a project coming out to celebrate our 25th anniversary. Let them know, John.
Yeah. Yeah, man. You know what? To celebrate the anniversary, we're going to release composition number 1 on double vinyl. It's coming out this fall, and
Remastered.
it's going to be remastered. And yeah, we're excited about that. It's never been on vinyl, and it's a good way to kind of time keep the very first album and stuff and play it on vinyl. And it's going to be released in Berlin on HHV and 90s tapes. And that's like a lot of kids that are just looking up groups they might not have heard of yet. And yeah, we're going to be one of those bands where we might have some new listeners now, which is a breath of fresh air for me to hear, because I can only imagine like a new kid in Berlin, like who is LA Symphony, and then they're going to hear Joey the Jerk. Who's LA Symphony? We suck. So hard,
Wow.
Oh man,
Wow.
No,
you suck
meaning
so
like,
hard.
exactly, meaning like they just to be able to get in front of new ears
Yeah.
is a plus, and it's going to be on vinyl. So Cookbook made some new shirts as well. So we're just going to be promoting the new repress and hopefully selling some more merch. And yeah, man, Ja
never know
willing,
them. Yeah.
we'd love to rock again, because I had a lot of fun, and it was good to practice with DJ Hydro and to get sharpened up. You know what I'm saying?
Salute to DJ Hydro as well. That was a very dope intro. Pigeon and everyone, you kind of deflected around my question, so I'm going to ask again. Will we get LA Symphony newness for 2024, maybe 2025?
Ooh,
How about we say this? You might just get a key or two. You never know.
Yes.
Yeah.
There might have been some things that might have been recorded already, even.
Hey, so we might be able to get some.
We can announce the one stuff that is for sure, which is the vinyl.
Right. That's real.
The rest,
yeah, and I definitely want to get a copy of that too.
It's a good chance, bro. It's a good chance.
When you guys look back at your whole career, both respectively and collectively, how do you describe? I don't want to say describe the moment, but you guys have really etched out a great catalog of music at a great time, and really just honed in on what it meant to be responsible artists, responsible journalists, however you want to word it. After the stage performance you guys just put on, and looking back at everything, what does LA Symphony mean to the culture? What does it mean to yourselves? And if you were to, and it's not going to end tonight, thank God. We've got so much more to hopefully see and hear. But as of right now, 25 years is definitely something to celebrate. What do you take from everything you've done over the last quarter century? And I want all of you to answer this respectively.
It's a great question.
Yeah.
Man, I'm going to jump in. I'm just going to answer fast, man.
Okay.
I remember I was at Cornerstone talking about music camaraderie. I was talking to Coffee at the Grits, and we were in talks of deals, like, in the early days. It was 99, I think. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know if this is going to go or that's going to go. It was like right before LA Symphony was about to go on stage. And he looked at me because he was a little ahead of the game. And he said, man, enjoy the ride. He said, just enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Enjoy, you know what I mean? And I didn't understand anything he was saying. And he said, get air miles, which I did. Those two things, you know what I mean? He said, clock your air miles and enjoy the ride. This little guy. He gave me the everything you need to know, almost anything. And but that's what I learned, because I learned to, looking back on it, it was I'm going to say magical, down to all our individual relationships, cookbook, what I'm saying, Flynn, and everybody had their own relationships too. So it was a cool, destiny kind of thing. And I'm glad that I, was young enough, like Cook said, to just say, yeah, I'm down. I'm jump in the crew. Let's do it. I'm going to offer what I have. And I think, like, maybe that's what I'm taking from it now. Like, offer what I have now. Like, LA Symphony is the world now. Now I gotta, click up, open up, be yourself. That's what I'm taking from,
Hmm.
being with the crew. And then also, like, definitely tap in more. Be connected to people. You can't do a solo dolo. It's not as fun. You be in hotels, wiping away tears. You being out here freshly showered, bills paid. Got a girl at home, just over here almost at tears.
Oh, Lord have
Everything you ever
mercy.
wanted is in your hands. You'd be like,
Before
but
anyone else answers,
okay, I'm gonna stop.
um, before anyone else answers, if anyone's watching this right now and there's a podcast host, if you get pitching on your show, be prepared. Just be prepared.
Oh man,
Because he is a ball of energy, but he is a very comedic guy, and that's what I
man,
love about Pigeon. Thank you, sir.
oh man, you bro.
Cookbook.
Yeah. I think, it's hard to like quantify 25 years of, it, it's not like you could say, okay, we have these platinum records or we have this. So of course you have to look at the journey and like who we all became and the ups and downs that you go through that links you together literally forever. And
Yeah.
I think that the show at Rhymefest a couple weeks ago shows just that we cannot be on stage together for 10 years. So a few of us didn't even perform for 10 years. And then for
Wow.
us to come back together and be able to eh, just to still be in sync in that way. And it's not just the music, that's just a symbol of how connected we are. If you
Yeah.
were at the practices that we did before, which half of it was just us talking, laughing, and just picking right back up
Yeah.
where we left off. I think to me that's priceless. Like you can't. Where do you find that? And that you only find that when you go through true ups and downs, trials and
Man.
tribulations, and good times together. That's the only way you develop that kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And like I genuinely love these dudes like my brothers. There's no question about it. Every single one of them are my brothers. And we I hadn't about I want to say about 2.5 years ago, we all got together at Joey the Jerk's house, and I didn't realize it, but at the time I hadn't seen Poems in 13 years, and I just
Wow.
happened to be going to the car to get some out of the car when he arrived, and when I saw him, I literally burst into tears. I didn't even expect it. I just started crying, and I grabbed him and I hugged him, and
Wow.
it's just that you don't get that from just surface level nonsense. You
No,
get
you
that from
know.
truly going through. So for me, for the 25 years, yeah, the music's been great, and but it comes from that place, and that place is what I'm gonna walk away with forever, no matter what happens with music.
Wow. That was powerful, man. That was dope. J Beats.
Man, same thing as Ditto as Cook. The same thing. Like we've been through a lot, like a lot with each other, and like good and bad. And like for me personally, like I feel like LA Symphony saved my life because I could have went a whole other
Uh,
direction. Just you know what I mean.
Mm.
And yeah, it's yeah,
I don't
pretty
know,
much
but
what Cookbook
yeah,
said.
right. That's real.
Yeah,
Um, Flynn, Flynn, Joey, you wanna
yeah.
go ahead, Flynn.
Talk a lot or can
Can you hear me
you sound a
now?
little you sound a little robotic.
you hear
I
me?
think it might be his Wi-Fi. He probably got his
Oh,
Wi-Fi on.
Yeah, Flynn,
Yeah.
you do sound a little robotic there, bro.
oh,
All right, Joey. We'll get Flynn on. We're gonna say Flynn for last. Joey, what your whole perspective 25 years later? Put it into words for everybody.
I remember, well, everything they said brought up different things in my head, honestly. Like, well, John said something about coffee, but I remember getting off stage at Life Fest. I think it was Life Fest in like Iowa. I don't know where we were at. Who cares? Ohio. Who knows, right? Somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And what the heck? All the lights went off.
What? I love it.
LA Sam style, you know what I mean?
It is LA Simp,
Hey,
man.
hey.
There you go.
Look at me dancing in the dark. Here we go.
Yeah.
So we were at Life Fest or something. We got off stage, and I remember Toby Mac. It was like me and Flynn. I was standing next to Flynn, and Toby Mac looks at us, and he was like, "You guys have it." And I was like, "Yeah,
Wow.
cares?" You know what I mean? In one regard, but I really think that we do have like a click in, such a special like connection. But it's not like it's some like magical connection. I think we grew together at a time when we were all at a certain, in the right place, right time. You know what I mean? It is what it is. I think I also remember we had a vision statement or a mission statement or something like that. And it was something like to change and affect the Christian market or music for Christianity or for Jesus, or I don't remember what the mission was exactly. But it was something like that. And it basically said to me, my thought was like to change the way this music is made by Christians and the way people look at Christian hip hop or Christians in this sphere. That was our mission at one point. And I really felt like we stayed true to that and we accomplished that. You were talking earlier about, working with all these cats, the LA cats or the guys. And I don't think none of these Christian dudes were doing that before. There's so many things when you look at the way the Christian whole industry, not the industry, but the Christian hip hop industry moved kind of post us. And it's all just not, I don't want to say, it's the
Joe,
great
let him
influence
know.
of us from multiple things that we did, even as the industry changed. CDs to, internet and all that jazz. It's influence. A lot of people don't even recognize, like, that nobody was doing that before we came in and did this way. And I personally don't look at that and say that was me. I think you have to look at guys like Flynn and guys like John and guys like Cook and guys like Noah. Who really
that's crazy.
And led us in that direction.
Kicking in doors.
Joey, you. I only got 3 more questions. I'm gonna let you guys. Joey, you just mentioned something pretty unique. Is how when you guys came out, the way music was distributed was different. I was at a used record store a couple weeks back, and I saw a 12-inch of Mr. What the Heck and Broken Tape Decks. I was like, I should buy this, and I did. It was only $3. Shout out to the used record store. But to see where we are now, where everything is Spotify now and everything is digital, like you guys have come a long way from distributing your own vinyl to now all you gotta do is just go on Spotify and the whole catalog of LA Syphmony is right there. It's like, so yeah, thank you for speaking on that. And the whole new audience that everything is digital now. Everyone can just type in LA Simp and there it is. I'm right there. Flynn.
Yep.
25 years. Put it into words.
I think 25 years. It's been I think, to kind of reiterate a lot of what's already been said, we definitely are like family. I know these guys, and I think they know me better than a lot of my own family members, even immediate family members, because we spent so much time together, driving everywhere together, flying everywhere together. We traveled and were forced to to be in the same room and same vehicles for extended amounts of time, and that like I feel like you learn to deal with, because we are a large group, there's so many different personality types. And it was just
Yeah.
really like not only like getting to know each other as family members, but also getting to really come to understand other personality types. And I think even taking that, what we've learned within our group, within LA Symphony, and you can like kind of translate that into life with other people you meet. It's like, oh, that person, okay, I know how to communicate better or understand maybe how to motivate or inspire, because we've kind of learned that within each other. You know what I mean? I think as far as the music's concerned, I look at it now like, to me, every song is like a painting, and it was like I now when I hear a song, it takes me back to that time when that song was made, right? When
Mhm.
and it reminds you of all that. It's like the best like photo journal, so to speak, you know what I mean, but in song. And I think even now with every new song that I make, it's just attaching the new memories, and there's kind of power in that, and it's
Yeah.
exciting with all the new music that we're making as individuals, or on different projects that we're working on now. It's
Right.
also kind of memorializing life, right? So I feel like in the last 25 years, I can look back on all the music that we've all made collectively, and I think it's a good snapshot of who we are as individuals and as a
Hmm.
crew. And yeah, just grateful to be able to continue to make music. And
Amen.
I you know what I mean? So
Amen and amen. One last question for everybody, and then you can let everyone know how they can reach you on social media. But before we get into that, and Pigeon, I asked you this the last time we talked. Um, I was a huge root beer fan as well, um, and I I always looked for this one particular song that you guys did that never got released. I need a copy of AEIOU, please. That was one of my favorite joints
Flint.
of all time.
yeah,
You
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
send him
I
the
know, I know. I
AIOU.
told you. I got. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got it.
I
I think I
Look up
found it.
Oh man.
to go get it right now. See?
Oh,
Dang.
Yeah.
I was in Bobby Bishop's car as we was coming from New Hampshire, and I don't know how he got this record, but I was like, yo, I need a copy of this. He's like, root beer. Who is root beer? And he's like, it's Flynn and Pigeon. I'm like, okay, I just want it because I already loved these two. But I love that song. Just
How
stood
did
out
he
for
get
some
that?
reason. Loved that record. Last question for
I have
everyone.
no idea.
Huh?
I have no idea how he got that. That's
I don't
crazy.
either, but I don't know how he got
Uh,
it, but it was a many, many, many decades ago, but it was just such a great record. And I always waited for it to actually come out so I could just say that I had it, because that song always rang in my head ever since day one. So thank y'all for that
yeah.
one too. Last question. Over the years, we've lost so many great influences of this culture, even not even in hip hop culture, but just music culture, to this day. And I always will say Heavy D and True Goy are the ones that I miss the most, that I wish were still here. Um, who is someone that we lost that you guys that really influenced you collectively and respectively, that you wish was still around to make more music, and why? Why that artist? Anyone can go.
I'll go. So one of my first rap influences, and you could literally pinpoint his influence in my style when I first started rapping, was Guru. And so that was a hard one. And I would say recently, someone who had actually become a friend of mine that I was working on in the middle of working a project with would be my man Chino Excel. Shout out to him. Uh, he was a real one. He was really cool with me, treated me like, just like a brother, even though I didn't
Yeah,
know him that well. And that one really hurt. And that just happened.
yeah,
So I'm talking to his people about still putting the music out and giving the proceeds to his family. So I really want that to come out because I think it was great music, but more than that, just that one hurt real bad because he was, I was very personally involved with him for a number of years,
Wow.
working with him and stuff. So that's what I'd say.
Remembered imperfection, Chino Excel every day, all day. Yes, sir. Anyone else want to chime in? Feel free.
I think I would with Gift of Gab with Black Alicious.
Yeah.
I think their run was like like 5-6 albums. So I think
Yeah.
like what they did in quality control that my man did. I think that he would still be doing excellent Black Alicious music and
Absolutely.
more in the world still, and people would be loving it.
Absolutely, yeah. Right. Gift of gab forever and a day. man. Flynn, eh, J Beats. Oh no, J Beats didn't. No, Cookbook spoke. J Beats, Flynn, anyone?
I would say I guess we could classify him as a rapper as well, but I would say JD or J Dilla. Like I was just thinking today,
Course.
like I heard like some old beats that he had that never came out or whatever, and I was like, man, like I miss like hearing his new stuff because it always like sent you back to the drawing board. It always made you think like, man, how'd he
Yeah.
do that? It just inspired you to like, okay, he did that. Like you'll hear a sample or you'll hear the sample he used and like see how he flipped it and be like, man, like as a beat maker, you just be
Yeah.
like, man, I need to step my bars up, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I just miss being like that type of inspiration that was like top grade. That was just like, man, like this dude is a wizard. It made you want to be better, you know what I mean? So I miss that.
Right on. Right
Yeah.
on.
That
Joey?
was exactly what I was gonna say. Was Dilla.
Yeah.
I don't. When you started talking, I didn't think of any influences like, oh, they influenced me musically.
Mhm.
But honestly, my first thought was someone we all knew. I think who recently passed, Gabriel. That was my first thought, honestly.
Say that name one more time. You kind of faded out just a bit.
Gabriel.
Okay.
It was
I'm not familiar with him, but I'm gonna look him up now. Definitely.
Gabriel.
What was it about Gabe that made you fall in love with the man with his style of music? What was it about him?
He wasn't like his music. He was just a cool guy that we
Oh,
all knew.
okay. Cool.
Dude, it was
talking
he
about
worked a lot with
Toby. Yeah, when
sorry.
you start talking about people that passed, my mind just
Wow.
that was the first,
It
thought I had.
Leon Patillo's son.
Yeah.
Gabe. Yeah.
Okay. Sweet. Is there anyone who hasn't answered this question yet? Is there? Did everyone say theirs? I don't want to miss nobody.
I think
Okay.
everybody says.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the legendary LA Symphony. 25 years of excellence, 25 years of growth, 25 years of exceptional bars talent, but 25 years of just proper kings doing proper king things and unapologetically bringing it to the world. It has been a pleasure doing this with y'all. Sorry for the car situation and everything, but I was so glad you guys were patient enough and just willing to just share your hearts and speak openly. I am truly a fan. Whatever happens next, I'm along for the ride. Flynn, I did get that, so thank you. And it has been a pleasure. So in closing, let them know how they can find you on social media and promote the composition #1 reissue one last time, guys. Floor is yours. Go.
Pigeon, take
Man,
us out.
reach us at LA Symphony on Instagram, spelled like that. And then if you hit us there, you can reach all of our individual pages right there. And we'll be promoting the up and coming re-release of composition #1 on double vinyl very, very soon with the hard street date. And yeah, man, we're excited, man. And hopefully we'll do something. Thinking out loud, we'll do something to celebrate that somehow. Maybe I don't know, maybe
Amen
do
to
a
that.
show or something like that.
Yes. Please do a
Yeah.
show.
Definitely heads up.
Let me
Yeah,
know
man.
so I can
Reach
come
us at
out.
LA Symphony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen,
LA
this
Symphony.
is the legendary LA Symphony Cookbook. Jay Beats, Joey the Jerk, Flynn Adam Atkins, Pigeon John. Salute to Uno Mas, Beachwise, Sharrock Poems, Soup the Chemist. Oh, I know there's so many names I'm probably forgetting. But this is one conglomerate of masterpiece writers that truly deserve their flowers. So let's give it to them while they're still here. Thank you guys so much. This was a pleasure and a half. Man, I got to live out a
Thanks for having
dream.
us.
I'm speaking to people.
Appreciate it, man.
I'm speaking to
Thank
people that
you.
really raised me since '97, and I'm just so honored to be here amongst you great legends. Thank y'all
Thanks for having
so
us.
much, man. Brilliant. So,
Yeah, thank you.
ladies and gentlemen, LA Symphony is signing off. Follow their respective pages, and if you have not seen this performance that they just did a couple weeks ago, it is all over YouTube. Share it, like it, comment on it, share with your peoples. It is a memorable time. And I also want to say that you guys really were honored to have Akil of Jurassic 5 introduce y'all because y'all are big fans of J5. And
Yeah.
so that was just iconic in all aspects. So, all right, guys. I'm gonna sign off and go hang with and go swing. I'm gonna go sign off and do like Pigeon John did. I'm gonna swing dance with my wife. That's what I'm about to do right now.
Good, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
boy,
thank you
that's
guys
tough.
for coming. I'm gonna reach out to Cookbook again and apologize to all of you for the inconvenience.
How you good,
But
man?
All good.
I definitely want to try to get you
All
guys to
good.
come to Kansas City and do a show here. So let's try to make that work.
Yeah.
Man,
Word.
Yeah. That'd be
Awesome.
dope. Yeah, that'd be
All right,
awesome.
guys.
Yeah,
At
man.
Rap Sheet Podcast, where creators and culture meet, we are signing off. Next week, I'm going to have DJ Skills from North Carolina on here. He was the DJ for rapper Big Pooh and was the DJ for the Fugees. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that next week. And yeah, man, keep me informed on whatever's coming out. I love to support it. I do have a radio show, so send me whatever. I can play it on air and get you guys the love that you guys richly deserve.
Word.
Oh, thank
All right,
you.
guys.
Right.
Salute.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
LA Sim.
Salute.
LA Sims all day, every day. Thank you,
Yes,
gentlemen.
sir.
God bless you. Yes,
All
sir.
right, man.
Peace.
Peace.
All right.